So I've been kind of putting this particular video off a little bit because it's not really about just working in the studio, and it's not really about how to be more creative or creative strategies. It's really about how to just hang on to your own money in your day-to-day life. And I'm not a financial expert, but these are small things you can do, and they work pretty well. Let's get started. Glasses stay on for this because I need to read this thing or I'm going to tell you guys a bunch of wrong stuff. So bear with me on that. I almost hate to start here, but this is where I'm going to start. Starbucks. A lot of people who live in the cities or in urban areas, they may go to Starbucks every morning, or they may go to their local coffee shop every day. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that if you can afford it. And I know it's a small pleasure and it's a small luxury. What is it, $5 a day maybe? But it's, it's $5 a day times 5 days a week times maybe 50 weeks a year comes out to about $1,200 a year in coffee. It's substantial. It's not enough to kill you, but it's substantial. Over 10 years, it's $12,500 if you're paying $5. That sounds like a lot of money. Maybe you do Starbucks twice a week and then you make your own coffee the other days. You're still saving about $800 a month. That's a nice savings. You can do something with that. I don't want to come across here like an old boomer because I know that coffee and phones are something that kind of like old Republicans harp on about young people are spending too much money on this. And maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. I'm not going to judge them for it, but it also seems kind of stupid and something you don't really need to get all pissy about, You still have to enjoy life. A little bit of a small luxury here and there never hurts anybody. Which brings us to the next one, is try to avoid restaurants. Restaurants are just really expensive food options. If you can avoid it, avoid it. If you can't, well, you can't. Also, sometimes you got to go out to dinner. You've got friends, you've got social life, you've got things that you have to do. And let's be honest, eating at restaurants is a very nice experience most of the time. Here in New York, restaurants are getting more and more expensive every day. I'm sure they are in your guys' hometowns too. Just watch what you do in it. You don't always have to go to a 5-star restaurant when a 3-star one might do, and that might be an extra $20 in your pocket just on that day. So no real hard numbers to it, but just know that going out for food will always cost a lot more than eating in. So it's a tricky one as well. One that kind of does work in the studio, kind of works in the home as well, is try to get rid of paper towels. I use them for certain things. I don't use them for other things. I try to use tea towels as much as I can in the kitchen because I can wash them. Sometimes, though, I really need a paper towel in the kitchen. But what I have found by trying to wean myself off them where they're not necessary, I can save that $25-$30 a month on buying paper towels every month versus buying them 3 times or 4 times a year. It's a great way to go. And if you're buying it bulk, maybe you buy them 1 time a year. That's a great way to go. It's trickier with paper towels in the studio. You can only get away with using the same cloth rag, especially with wiping paints of any type, because they just when they dry, they just become clumps, and you'll never wash that out. So, it's a funny line to kind of walk on that one. But I would say if you can kind of minimize your paper product use, that's a great one. Also, there's a plus to it. It's pretty ecological to do that, and that's always a good feeling. So you've got that going for you. If you buy a lot of bottled water to drink, this is an easy one. Buy a thermos water, fill it at home, fill it where you can, fill it at the office. Buying more and more plastic bottles never does anything good for you. Unless, of course, you're recycling those bottles to use in your studio, and then, all bets are off because you're using it in the studio. But really, try to avoid plastic single-use bottles as you can. They're expensive, they're bad for the environment, and if you just buy something you can carry around with you, throw in your backpack, throw in a pocket, that works pretty well. I like the Mir bottles, MIIR is the brand name. They work really well. I think they're somewhat reasonably priced, they're reasonably fashionable, and they take a real beating, which is nice. Getting a little more realistic about some things, use the library. It's almost unbelievable to think that the United States still has library systems, that the movie studios, the book the book publishers haven't somehow found a way to get rid of libraries. Libraries are amazing. All the books are free, many as you want, but also they've got movies now, and they've got access to the internet, although you've probably got your own computer, which I think is a good choice. The library is a great place for information. It's a great place for research. The thing that I've always loved about the library is I might be looking for books in a section. All the books I'm looking for are like right here. But like right here is this book I had no idea existed, and it's exactly what I wanted. I've had a ton of really happy accidents in the library by just kind of looking or trying to find the books that I'm actually kind of looking for, and that has always worked really well for me. And I think it can work well for you guys too. The libraries are so underutilized, it's incredible. Use the libraries. They're one of the best things we've got. They're free. They're part of your tax dollars. Go for the library any chance you get a ton of time. Okay, slightly controversial. It's children. I would say right off the bat, don't have any. Some people don't feel that way, but kids can be expensive. I know a lot of young parents I've talked to, the first kid is always far more expensive just to have through hospitals, and the second one because you learn how to kind of do it the first time. As an artist, it's a tricky game. I have chosen not to have children, and I don't feel bad about that. I know how I grew up, and I knew that I would want a child of mine to have that same kind of growing up. And the truth of the matter is, as an artist, I couldn't guarantee that. I wanted to be able to go out on a limb and try something new and see where I could go. Other people have chosen to have children, and I think that's great. But, they are an expense, and they kind of can get in the way. As they say, they're the greatest job you'll ever have is being a mother or a father, right? And I probably believe that. I didn't see childhood, having a child, being good for me. It may be great for you, and I'm not going to down talk you on that. But also realize what expenses that comes into play with that. And if you're an artist who's not struggling but just barely making it by, there's a lot of expenses involved with that. And if you're really, really focused on wanting to be an artist more than a parent, then you've got some decisions to make. And it is truly a personal decision, and I will never judge it one way or the other. But I know it's a great way to save money. Fund your IRA. Even if it's only $1,000, every year find some money to fund your IRA. You're eventually going to get old. You're eventually going to have bills after you retire or as you get older and you don't make as much money, or hopefully you make more money, but you'll want a little bit of savings. Fund your IRA account. I think it's now up to $7,000 a year. Could be wrong on that. Get whatever you can in it every year. It's non-taxed in earning income as you get older. It's a great way to go. I'm not a financial expert, so the exact wording of this stuff, check with someone who really knows about it. But putting money in your IRA, even when you're in your early 20s, is really money well spent. And I highly recommend you do it. I didn't do it. I'm paying the price for it now. Don't be stupid like me. Be smart like you, and go with that route. I think that's the best thing I can possibly tell anyone, is always fund your IRA. This is a short one. I just want to touch base on some things that I thought could help you guys save some money. Especially after Christmas, I think this has been a tough time. I'm doing this the day before the inauguration here in the United States. That's a tricky one too. It's really cold right now. We're getting snow in New York City. Out west, we've had these horrendous fires. Saving a little bit of money for a rainy day, as they say, probably never hurts anyone. I wish you all the best. Hope things go really well this week. I'll see you next week. Thanks a lot. Like and subscribe if you can. I'll see you next time. Thanks.